welcome to Spark TV. It's so fabulous to have you.
Thanks for having me.
And cheers, you bought bubbles, so you
sure.
You're already my best friend, so I love it. Amazing. So I found out about you, I think through the usual way, which is Instagram stalking, and then we got connected over this podcast. So I'm so excited to share your story. Can you tell everyone what Dean Publishing actually is?
Yes, for sure. So Dean Publishing really is obviously a publishing house, but it's an in-house publishing house. So we have our own ghostwriters, editors, copy editors, designers, experts in the industry that are done all in-house. So the author, it takes the experience from start to finish. So we give them obviously a printed book in their hand. So it can be from start of concept to book in their hand. And a lot of times when people go to write their book, you know, they never get it done because we're in our own heads as entrepreneurs. Our minds go everywhere. Yes. And we need someone to kind of keep us on track. But it is a little bit more than a publishing house because, we not only do we do, like I said, start to finish, but for me, it's more about when I help someone publish their story, their lessons, their teachings in a book, I by default are helping more people, because the more that I can spread the word of other people's businesses or their expertise, the more that I feel I have that ripple effect of helping more people, because I believe stories do transform people's lives. And so it allows me to help more people by helping someone get all their knowledge out of their head into a book.
I love that so much, because that is literally the reason we do the Spark podcast. So it is, female founder interviews, but all I say is I want other female founders to be like a fly on the wall while we're having a glass of wine, sharing our business stories, because I could not agree with you more. Like that impact of just sharing people's stories. You just never know who's listening, who's reading that book, and their life could be completely transformed.
Absolutely. And you're spot on, whether they're listening, whether they're reading, whether they're watching. I think when, and everyone will get something different out of a book or out of a podcast or out of a message that you've got. They could refer it back to themselves. They could go, well, maybe I can do it too, which is what I love. And the thing is that, what I love also about it is that no one kind of likes being told, unless you're paying for it, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're saying, I'm paying you for your knowledge, tell me what I should do. But I think what's so great when you're listening to a podcast, reading a book and learning from someone else is that you make that decision yourself. You make that click in your mind to go, oh, maybe I could do that too. Or, oh, I didn't know that. Or, wow, how inspiring are they? I want to do some work with them, or whatever that might be. So I think we learn from others, we grow from others. And so the more that we can share forward our teachings and our lessons, the more that we can really impact the world together.
Oh, that is incredible. So how did you get here? Was there a career before Dean Publishing? Were there other businesses? What's the backstory?
So the quick backstory is that, I was at school. I think there's a whole story there in the sense that, I think I was more there for friends. And in my day, it was
like every good entrepreneur, networking.
And then I think in my day, it was a little bit like, my dad was, my dad was an army man. So it was like, you can't go on the dole, you have to have a job. So it was like the first thing you left to do was secretarial school, in my day. So it's like, okay, I can get out of school, go become a secretary, and I can leave, And so the touch typing skills have been hugely advantageous, but it was never really where my heart was. And I ended up going back as a mature age student and become a youth worker. So I worked with adolescents as a in some quite heavy units with the Department of Human Services. So I found that's where story always resonated. I mean, I loved writing stories at school and English, although my English teacher was never my favorite. English itself and writing stories I loved. And so from there, it was just telling stories. So I might be just sitting chatting with a child and I'll say, you know, I had a friend that did this, or there was another girl that I worked with that did this. And they'd say, you know, do you think I could do that too? And I'd say, yeah, let's do that. And whether that be, you know, learn how to play tennis or do something to get these kids engaged. And I was having such great success. I was hired by the Young Women's Unit to work one-on-one, and it was just through conversation and story that I watched these kids shift. They lit up as if they had hope and they had made that decision. And so from there, oh gosh, I moved into life coaching, relationship coaching. I worked with the famous Dr. John Gray, who wrote the book Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And I transitioned into life coaching, where I then moved into business coaching. I ran a couple of different businesses. And then for me, my coaching business grew, you know, through story, through me sharing story, through me writing in a compilation book, through me just getting my message out there. And so the transition with me was, I can only reach so many people. What if I could help all these amazing people that have got knowledge, whether they've, you know, educated themselves in something, whether they've learned through adversity, whether they've learned through their ups and failings and successes. How could I help them share their message forward, but also use that message to grow their business and their following? So, you know, and to me, when you're investing heavily in something that is your gold, your legacy that you're leaving, I wanted to make sure it was done right. I wanted to make sure that it was heartfelt, that it wasn't just words on a paper and someone just edited. I wanted to know every single author that I worked with, and I wanted my team to know them. I wanted them to feel nurtured from start to finish. And so I hand selected experts, because believe me, don't read my grammar and spelling.
I always got to know your strengths.
Yeah, I'm a publisher, and it's like, I hope they're not spell checking my email. Please send them out. But the point was, I brought in experts that know how to do a book cover, not just graphic designers, experts in the publishing industry, experts in knowing how to structure a story, how to get a book to, you know, have that grab, and then how to get it up onto Amazon and all those things that, you know, rather than everyone trying to figure it out or, you know, doing what they think's great without having a professional to help them. I then built the team, and from there, you know, setting goals always as an entrepreneur. I had a vision of a publishing house where people could come and they could feel the books and see the books and meet the editors and the designers. And so then I have this beautiful Dean Manor that I have in the Macedon Ranges, where the authors can come and enjoy this beautiful space, but also get to connect with the people that have helped them pull their book and their legacy together.
Wow, I think that is such an incredible idea to make the whole experience, I guess, tactile. You know, you just hear about when people write their books, how arduous it is. You know, they are just forcing themselves to sit at the laptop. I love the idea of actually making it an experience where they can come to you, they can connect with you, they can share their story. Yeah, it's just a really interesting take on something that a lot of people want to do, but often go way too hard.
Yeah, and we want to be in our creative space. We don't want to be in our logical mind where we're thinking, is this right? Is that not right? Because as we know with anything, when we speak from the heart, it's so much easier, because one, you don't have to remember. Two, it's you speaking your truth. And so then what happens is, if you go into your logical brain and you try and make it right, you end up either waffling, which, you know, or you end up making it very boring for the reader. So when you're in your creative space, which is what we allow our authors to do, some authors talk out their book to us, and then we ask them questions and we bounce off each other. And do you think you should do it this or this? You know, so should we leave this in? Should we put this out? You know, I like this quote. Can I have it in, or is it plagiarized? You know, all those things that are really important to have a team. And I know that for me, you know, even myself, I've been in many compilation books and I've written many pieces, but now I'm doing my own book to show
Oh,
people
cool.
the journey. And even I found it hard because I'm an entrepreneur. My mind would go here and there, and then I'd be like, oh, maybe I'll put this in and maybe I'll put that. And then it became too much. And then I'm like, team, I have, you're the experts. I have no ego here. Just make it amazing for the reader. And I think that's what I feel, that when people do that, we get the best out of the book. And that's when people read the book and go, wow, like I could feel this person's passion. I could feel their knowledge. I understood it. There was no gaps where my mind was going somewhere else. So a lot of our team do that, the go between you as the writer and the reader, where we might go, you moved there. The reader's going to be like, what happened there? Whereas when you're writing it, you might not even realize that you've left a gap for the reader to go, what's happened, and then you've lost them. You want to keep intrigued along the way. So, and get information, not just have a heap of waffle as well. We want some tangible how-tos. And I think that's the difference. What we do here is we entwine the story, because I believe the story is what people want to know. Even with big brands, we want to know, where did they come from? What did they do? But then how do we entwine some how-tos? So what's in it for the reader? How can they learn from your experience or your knowledge, or what it is that you kind of want to share?
I love that. So do you specialize in business owners writing their books, or anybody, any story?
Look, predominantly we do, because if anyone knows anything about books, you're not going to get rich from a book, Even, I was speaking to John Gray. We launched a book with him over in Vegas a couple of months back. And, he got, a couple of $1 million to, go and sit and write. You're going to find time to write. And he said, oh, it's 4 months, 5 months of, he goes, I don't enjoy it. But when someone throws a check like that in front of you, you're going to kind of make the time, right? The point is, not everybody, they know the sales that they'll get, whereas not everybody is that. And what people don't understand is that when you sell a book, you're lucky to get a couple of dollars if you're using traditional, if you're kind of take that path. We're the middle of the range, where self-publishing, go figure it out all yourself. That's great, and you might save a couple of dollars and you might end up costing yourself a lot, because a lot of people come to us and say, oh my God, the printing's all wrong, it's not what I wanted, I didn't realize I had that plagiarized in there, or they come back after the fact and go, I should have just gone with you, or it would have saved me money. But we're the middle of the range, where it's a paid for service, but you've got a really good team of people. So my team's been, like I said, hand selected, so they do things quicker. They multitask things, so we can keep the price down as low as possible and really hold your hand every step of the way. But you're not going to get rich from a book, right? You're going to really invest in this to say, well, what else is it that you're selling, or what else is it that you're wanting? Some people, it's just purely about leaving a legacy, and that's okay. But for a lot of people, they've got another service, whether that be coaching, whether that be speaking gigs, and they want to sell them at the back of the room, whether that be that they've got a product or a service. We're doing a beauty book at the moment. We've got a series called Why Shift, and people might want to learn about beauty, buy products, but they can also use it as a marketing tool to grow their business. That being said, we have been inundated by cooking books and children's books. So
really, wow.
Yeah, so we are up to, I think we've got a few amazing books coming out in the children's category. We've got a couple of books that are already here. Bella's Rainy Day, we're all in this together. We've got those. And then cookbooks, we've got Nutritious and Delicious. We've got another hamburger book coming out. We've got about 2 other amazing like coffee table yummy cookbooks with lessons in them and recipes and stuff. So we've really gone into that as well. But some of these people also say run online cooking shows and stuff, so they are also using it for branding and growing their business as well, for sure.
I love that. So how then do we as a business owner decide if a book is right for us?
Look, I think that you've got to look at it purely as, marketing. We can go and put a landing page in a website. We can go and be in a magazine. We can go and do, Facebook ads and do all these different ads. But the one thing I find with a book is no one will ever throw a book out. Like a book.
Oh my God, yes.
Pass on. Yep.
Yeah.
and even if they haven't read it all, I mean, you want it to be good when they read it. Some people say, I just put a book out there. No, if I read a crappy book, there's no way I'm going to be going to work with them or do stuff with them, because
you're not like frantically looking up their website or their Instagram or like wanting to know more. You're like, I can't deal with that.
If that's the quality of their cover, if that's the quality of their work, what's their quality of working with them going to be? So the point is, we want something that is on brand. We want something that is good. And that's what we do also with our books. I mean, I find books need to be exciting. I mean, we did a great book for a lady that has like office fit outs. I mean, that book to me is interesting. There's lots.
Wow, that's gorgeous.
And the point is that book then leads in to, we've got an app that are attached to our books. So we look at our books as a business. How do we make it amazing? How do we make it, use it as a way to leave a legacy, but also to generate leads and have us be seen as the authority? So as far as, the listeners, who should have a book? Anybody in business should have a book. That's number one.
Yeah, I agree.
Any speaker, coach, trainer, anyone with a product, think about what book you could be in. Like I said, we've got a series book where you could be in a book we've got a book at the moment we're doing in the beauty series with Y Shift. And Y Shift, by the way, stands for Your Share It Forward Teachings. So they're like being 14 people, say, in a book, but make sure that it's not just one book. It's a book of a series, because then you're consistently marketing the book. So when I designed the books, or I help people design their own book, I'm thinking from an entrepreneurial point of view. So I do what we call a book mapping first. And I go, tell me about your business. Tell me about your product and your services. Tell me, what do you want this book to do? Do you want it to leave a legacy, make a difference? What else? What else? What else? And then I make sure that once I understand what they want the book to do, other than, of course, leave a legacy and share your message. I get that. I think everybody that's doing it for that is doing it for the right reasons than just, ego. But I think that when you're doing it from that place, you still got to invest well, and you still want to do it so that it lasts you year after year after year after year. And so the book becomes such a great investment from a marketing point of view that it should be your number one thing. It's what grew my coaching business, whether it be that I handed them a book at a networking event. And now, we're doing, you can ship your book for free if you want, pay for postage and handling. You can have it picked, packed and sent all over the world. Like there's so much you can do with a book. And we also, like I said, have an app that's attached to it. So
tell me about this app. What is this? This sounds awesome.
So the app basically, we're all visual, auditory, kinesthetic. We like to receive our information in different ways. The app allows you to download it on your amazing device that we all have, and whether that be a phone, an iPad, or your desktop. And now the book comes to life, because what I wanted to do was connect the reader with the author like never before.
Wow.
So what that means is that now I'm reading this book and I'm loving what this person's saying. How do I go and listen to her podcast? For example, there's a link there. So say, for example, one of our authors, Erica, who her book is called Confidence Feels Like Shit. She's the confidence. And
I know that book. That's so cool. Yeah.
And so Erica's got podcasts. So when she talks about a specific thing in her book, she links it to the best podcast that aligns with that chapter.
Oh, that's smart. That's so smart.
Yeah, I'm listening to this podcast. I'm liking this podcast. Now I'll subscribe. So I always find out, what is it that you want it to do? Well, let's get it to do as many things as possible.
Yeah.
So the app will allow them to jump onto your podcast. The link's still in the book, but they can now easily just click in.
Cool.
Where do you want to take them on your landing page? Is there photos in there that you want to put? Is there videos that you want to put in? And rather than them getting, say, lost off on YouTube, where you're taking them to an external link,
Yes.
the link is all embedded within the book. So they're
Cool.
just staying with you the whole time, but they're getting more and more nurtured, more and more connected to you. And so by the time they reach out, they're already kind of sold, or they feel that they already know you. And you're attracting the right clients, you're attracting the clients that you want. And then it's just a matter of, how do I get my books out into as many places as possible? And that's where I think it's important that the author owns the copyright, and they own everything. In that sense, they own the copyright, so they can sell it off their own website. They can do, lots with the book themselves. So then we talk about, how do you want to market this book? What's going to serve you to get this book into, as many people's hands as possible.
Wow, that is so incredible, because I think you're so right. Like, if you think about a book as a marketing strategy, it has to be integrated into your whole ecosystem. It can't just be a thing that you put out and go, yeah, you're right, it's not going to make you a billionaire, just the book. So yeah, how does it actually help everything else that you invest in? So I absolutely love the app idea. That is so cool. And I've actually not seen that before. Like, I just think about every bloody book I've read, and it is very much a, oh, this is really interesting, I'll Google the person, and that's kind of your link to finding out more. Like, authors really make it hard for you to find them.
Yeah. And so what I wanted to do was say, hey, you get bonuses if you download the interactive book.
Yes.
The point is if someone purchased a book off Amazon, they're going to know their name. Unfortunately, Amazon won't say, here's the list of people that have bought your book to add to your database.
Exactly.
So what the app allows you to do is, any people that have downloaded your book, you then get sent the CSV file. You can then remarket, hey, how did you like my book? Have you had an opportunity to get your downloadable bonus? Whatever it is that you've got that allows you to have this lead generation like never before. And we've got and also sending them to where they want to go for that particular section of a book as well. So if you've got multiple products, you might run events, you might have a podcast, you might do coaching, you might speak, you might have lots of different things and offerings. So then how do we send them there without it being salesy? I think that when people come to you, and the reason that I think it's so important, like I said, is, when I first started in coaching, I had a client call me on a phone. Yes, I'm showing my age.
That's all right. I remember the days.
And I had a cord on it. And I remember thinking, well, how many books of mine have been picked up that no one has actually called me, has gone to that next step? Or how many books have been brought and they put them on the bookshelf, but they haven't got around to it? So we want to entice them to say, hey, get the interactive book and get bonuses and more. Well, then they're going to put in their name and email to get this, and grow. And we're always developing the app. We're always improving it. And we're just about to go through another phase of improving it and seeing how we can, really integrate it. So when you are investing in something so personal and so amazing as a book, how do we then integrate it into all our other ecosystems? And it's exciting, and we've got lots of things that we've got on the plan for next year, and opening up writers retreats so people can come and have experts surrounded by them so they can write at the same time. So for me, it's like, I'm not going anywhere for a long time, and my daughters have both joined the company. I've got my oldest daughter turns 30 in January, and she's joined the company. My other daughter's 27. She's pregnant with my second grandchild. And we've got a cot in the office. So we all love
it's a family affair.
It is, but then even our staff become family as well. They all are passionate at what they do. And I think that's what's important, as you would know, if we're not passionate about what we do, how are we going to deliver something of great value? you know. And so all of my team are hand selected. They're passionate about what they do. And so they, you know, really look after our authors and give them, you know, premium service.
I love it so much. So we've obviously talked about how amazing it would be to have a book for your business and your marketing. Let me just ask you about your business. So, you know, you obviously, you know, there was different journeys, different businesses, the life coaching, the different careers before Dean Publishing sort of took off. What has it been like in that journey? So your journey to building this business, and, you know, you just said, you know, every year we're getting better, we're adding more services, our team's amazing, we've got the app. What's that journey been like for you, you know, as a business owner personally? Has it all been smooth sailing, or, you know, tell me about that?
No way. I don't know. I think you'd have to have, I don't know if anybody in business can say it's ever been smooth sailing. No, look, I was in lots of businesses. I was, you know, I had the shiny object syndrome, and I'd be jumping onto this and doing too much instead of concentrating on one thing. I also partnered with some people that had different values than what I did, and I was left with a lot of debt and no assets, and having to, you know, save myself through that. And, you know, I've had some really big struggles where, you know, we lost everything, and pretty much we were about to have everything taken from us, you know, from our home to our cars to having to pull children out of school. And it was a really, really hard time. And I remember, you know, my children were fairly young, and, you know, and I've had a couple of these things happen. I think I've had 3, and I think they come in 3s. I've had them.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So I had 3 times that kind of put you down, and then you go, oh my God, again. And then the third one, I think, nearly broke me. But maybe it was the second one. I think I was a little bit more resilient by the third one. But I remember the second one, I think it was, and I called it my upmarket breakdown. I literally went and got myself a bottle of grog, a packet of chips, a block of chocolate. I booked myself into a hotel room in the city on the last credit card that would go through before they knew it was already over. And I sat, and I reckon I cried a river for 2 days. I held my little heart out because I was trying to hold it in so much around my children.
Yes.
I just drove, and I rang my husband. I said, I need to get out. I need to go. I can't do this in front of the kids. I need to go. And I think once I'd cried it all out and felt sick in the morning, a massive hangover, I woke up and I went, okay, what am I going to do? You can't afford another night here anyway. You're going to be a runner.
Love it.
So what are you going to do about it? And I went, I'm not going to let somebody else break me. What is the universe going to tell me? What is going on here? And I think, you know, I gave it another go because I feel that, you know, I love collaboration, and I love working with people, and I am a people person, but I think I just collaborate in a different way now rather than a partnership where you're both directors and things like that. And when you've got different people and different values, and I think for me it was, what are you trying to tell me? And I went, back yourself. Oh my God, it was to back.
Oh my God, I just got goosebumps. Yes.
And I just went, that's it. That's it. I am the sole director of this company. I will build it the way I want. I will hire the way I want. I will over deliver. I will under promise and over deliver. I will create an amazing center, which, by the way, wasn't here. It was on my dream chart. And the funny thing is, it looks it looks better than what it did on the dream chart.
Oh, that's so cool. Yes.
On the dream chart. So for me, it was just back yourself. And the moment that I got that message to back myself, do something and do it well.
Yeah.
Before you do anything else, that's my biggest advice. Pick one thing, do it damn well, and then you can add to it. And so for me, it was the publishing books. Believe me, I've got a GM and a team that goes, Susan, no, we love the idea, but we're parking that one, because I'm a typical entrepreneur. I'm coming up with ideas. But now I keep them more aligned and more streamlined, and I love what I do. And I think it's now just building something it was never, my children weren't a part of it at the beginning, it was just me and a virtual assistant and a dog sitting between my legs in a garage. To then getting a personal assistant. So there was a live person there, and then to my daughter coming and joining, and then to, I've got an editor, and then one designer part-time, and then now I've got 2 full-time, and I've got others, and then I've got editors that's grown, and now we've got I think 12 staff that are on the books, full-time, that are working really hard and producing amazing books, and our authors are raving fans. And that was all what I had. I want raving fans, I want equality, I want this, I want that. And then the center was a neighbor's house, which was I came for a neighbor's gig across the road, and I went, this is my publishing house. And my husband's like, what? I said, this is it, it's mine, it's it. And I just, for 6 months, I was hoping that every car that turned up was not going to purchase it, because it took me 6 months to finally, being in your own business and trying to get finance for this and that, it's always hard. And I got it, and I knew it was mine from the beginning. And now I've got a beautiful purpose-built Dean Manor with an 18-seater theatre and a stage, and I've got this amazing place that people get to come and play. God. It's just all come together. But I backed myself, I stuck with one thing and did it really well. And I used my values and went, well, how would I want to be treated? I got sick of paying for things and then, you weren't looked after. I was sick of being overpromised and under-delivered. And so I went, well, how do I want mine to be? If this was mine and I got to start over, what would I do? And so it's been a hard yard to get it to where it is. And that's why I said, you see the success, you see the books. We just wanted to make sure every single book was great, and we just wanted to make sure everyone was looked after. And it's up to them to get out there and promote the books and get out there and do their job. But we know we've done an amazing job, and I've built a resource hub now, so I'm starting to put more and more content there, so that our authors aren't just getting their book done. They want some additional resources. There's lots there that you can learn from and grow from the sense of, how do I market my book? What's the latest book talk and different things like that. So now it's about that. So now it's like, I figure that this is going to be me for the rest of my life until until I'm probably repeating.
They drag you out of there.
No, my daughters say I already do that now. But I've brought the youth into it now, because I got no idea about Instagram and all of that. So my daughters have come in and brought the youth into it, and brought some amazing authors here, and and keeping it modern, and so I kind of get to do all my loves, business coaching, like as in author book coaching more. Now I've stopped sort of more my business coaching. I just help my authors now. And and that's kind of the long and the short of it. But no, never cruisy, always ups and downs. I think just love what you do and stick to it, and have some logic about it, but be a dreamer too, because dreams do come true, when you know what you're doing is good, ethical, and something that you love, and that you can help that person.
Dreams do come true. There is no better way to end this podcast session. Susan, you are absolutely incredible. Thank you so much for spending your time here on Spark TV, sharing your wisdom and insights with the Spark community. So grateful for your time.
Thank you so much, and thanks for including wine in it. It's a really good excuse for a nice refreshment in the middle of the day.
I love it. No, again, so grateful for your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.